This is the third video of the first lecture. In this video, I will introduce you to basic commands in Python. After watching this video, you can describe variable creation and changes in a program. You can identify the data type of a variable. You can apply basic arithmetic and logical operations on variables. And you can also apply typecasting on variables. As a result, you can develop a basic Python program. So variable creation and changes can happen as a result of arithmetic operators. So I want you to pause this video for a moment and guess what happens as a result of each operation in the RAM. What would be the RAM looks like as a result of this operation, then this, and then this operation. Okay, this is the result. Equal sign creates a variable in RAM. As you can see here, as a result of a equals to 8, a new variable is created in the RAM called a, and a is assigned into that variable. So a is like a storage box, and inside that storage box I have 8. Another operator is plus equal, which adds 2 or the values that you see here to the variable. So since a contains 8, now 8 should be added to 2, and as a result a contains 10. b equals to 10 creates a new variable. We already have a and 10. A in the RAM. Now we have a new variable called b, and 10 is assigned to this variable. Multiply by 2 will turn the RAM to this. It doesn't change a, but it sets b to 20. Printing a plus b does not change the RAM. It only changes the output terminal. In the output terminal, you will see 30. Print a minus b does not create a new value again in RAM. So as a result, you would see minus 10 is printed after 30. So the output terminal now shows two values. However, again we see an equal sign here. C equals to a multiplied by b. This will create a new variable in RAM, and Python sets that variable to 200. Printing b divided by 3 will not create a new variable either. So as a result, only the result of the division will be printed in the output terminal. Not only we have this division, if we use 2 forward slashes rather than just 1 forward slash, we are going to have a floor division that only shows the integer part of the result of the division. So we call this number with decimal points a float number. This is an integer number. Minus 10 is an integer number. 30 is an integer number. Modulus is another operator. It returns the remainder of a division. b modulus 3, b equals to 20, so 20 divided by 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. So the remainder is 2. As a result, 2 is also printed at the end. We also have the operand exponent that performs power calculation. We use 2 asterisks for this operand. 2 to the power of 3 returns 8. So as a result, 8 is printed. You see that the print functions has no effect on RAM. It only affects output terminal. However, equal signs and arithmetic operations, they will either create a variable in RAM or change that variable. A variable has a data type. Even constants have data types. For example, 5 has a data type. It's an integer. An integer is shown as int in Python. It's the data type of 5. You can use the type function to find out the data type of a variable. For example, if g is equal to 10, type g returns int, which is the data type of g. We know that division creates a float number. So if we use type h here, this 1.666627, it is a float number. Float numbers are for numbers with decimals. On the other hand, a floor division returns an integer like this. Another data type is a string. A string is shown using 2 quotations or 2 apostrophes. For example, hi space there is a string here because it's enclosed in between 2 quotations. When you use type T here, for example, str is printed. That shows that this is a string. A string is a text that consists of 0 or more characters. We also have a Boolean type. It's called bool in Python. It can accept either true with capital T or false with capital F. So if you assign true to P, type P will return bool. We can use arithmetic operators to change the variables or create new values in Python. We can also use logical operators to return either true or false, is equal to, is not equal to, lower than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So these are the operators that can produce true or false. For example, print 2 greater than equal to 3 will print false because 2 is not greater than 3. There are 3 other main logical operators: and, or, and not. If, for example, A contains false, not A returns true. If A contains true, not A returns false. As for and, it returns true only if only both A and B are true. Otherwise, it returns false. A or B returns true if either of A or B is true. If both are false, then or returns false. So this should be quite easy for you now, knowing all those operators. If A equals to B, if the RAM is like that, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, so the result is false. A not equal to B, yes, that's true. So true is returned. You can also attach 2 Boolean expression here. Is A equal to 10? Yes. B is equal to 20? Yes. Both are true. As a result, the result will be true. If you want to check whether A is between 5 and 20, you can say A greater than equal to 5 and A lower or greater than 20. Because that's true, the result is true. So we can use and or operators to check 2 Boolean expressions. If you want to know more about these operators, there are 2 links here that helps you to understand them, to understand the details of these operators. Okay, another important data type in Python is a string. We use a string to store text, to store a sequence of characters. For example, S1 equals to hey in between two quotations. We'll create S1 in RAM and we'll put hey inside the RAM. S2 equals to S1 will create a copy of S1. So you can see here that a new variable is created in RAM and S2 and it contains hey. Note that we later understand that strings are like lists. Lists are different. When you use equal sign for list, it doesn't create a new copy of that variable in RAM. It just gives it a second name. So I don't want to confuse you, but you need to know that the strings are different from lists. When you write down S2 equal to S1, a new variable is created with the same value. The plus sign will attach two variables. So S2 is U, is hey, plus U. Because of the equal sign, I'm going to have a new variable here. So hey U is created. If I want to see a space between them, I need to add a space right before Y. We have another operators for a string in. It checks whether a character or a string is inside another string. So, for example, here you see that A is not in F3. In F3, you don't see any A, but you see Y in F3, so it returns true. You can also return a character of a string. The thing is that the order starts with 0 in Python. So in the human world, you would start counting like this: 1 student, 2 students, 3 students, 4 students, and so on and so forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in Python, everything starts with 0. 0 students, first student, second student, third student. So when you say 0, when you use brackets, you say that I want a subset of that string. 0 means I want the first character. So the first character of S1, which is H, is printed. 1 means I want the second character. But if you say that I want the third character, it returns an index error because it wants the fourth character in S1. But S1 has just 0, 1, 2. It only can count up to the second character, not the third character. Print, and you can use colon to return the substring of a string. So here you see that I want from the first character up to the fourth character. So in hey U, 0, 1. So okay, I need to start from this E, 2, 3, and 4. O is the fourth character, but we don't include the fourth character here. So the result would be EYY. So it prints the second, third, and fourth character in the human world. In Python world, it returns the first, second, and third character. You can also use \n or \n/r to tell Python to go to the next line. So here, if you try to print this, it prints H, it goes to the next line, and then it prints I. You can also use the function len. This function returns the number of characters in a string. Campus has 6 characters, so it returns 6. So to know more about the Python strings, you can just click on this link or read the recommended textbooks. Another strong feature of Python is string formatting. In between two quotations, you can use %, D or percentage sign S to show that it's a placeholder for a number or a string. You can also use two curly brackets next to each other to put a placeholder for anything. So let's assume, let's see what happens as a result of these operations. First of all, I have a comma b equal to 40 comma 50. Rather than writing a equal to 40, going to the next line and say and write down b equal to 50, you can set two variables at the same time using this comma operator. So as a result of this, the RAM will be turned into, will be changed, and A will be set to 40 and B will be set to 50. Now you see in this string, the result of adding percentage %d to percentage %d is percentage %d. And then you see a percentage operator here. A, which is 40, will go here. The first percentage %d is replaced with 40. The second percentage %d is replaced with B, which is 50. And the third percentage %d is replaced with 90. If you have a string and you want to put it in a text, then you can use percentage %s. So here the percentage %s is replaced with a mean in between the apostrophes, which is a string, and percentage %d is replaced with 40. You can also use curly brackets. You can see that as a result of these, you can exactly do the same operation using curly brackets, but with format. Dot format, I mean in 40. So the result of txt2, of these two operations would be exactly the same. txt2 will have the same text. My name is Amin and my age is 40. So you draw what RAM looks like after this operation. Another feature of Python is typecasting. You can change a data type to another one. You can create a new value with a different data type using typecasting. Assume that you want to print 3 plus 3. The result is 6. But if you want to print string 3 plus string 3, the result is a new string. The plus operator will attach these two strings and create a new strings. It doesn't add them. So the result is 33 is a quotation and 33 is printed. If you try to add integer 3 to string 3, it returns a type error because Python doesn't know what to do with them. Here you need an option of typecasting. You can turn this string 3 to integer 3 using int function. You will write down int to parentheses and you put the string 3 as an input of this function. Then the result would be 6. This string 3 will be turned into an integer and will be added to 3 and 6 is printed. Or you can turn this integer 3 to a string using the str function. str3 will produce string 3, 3 enclosed with quotations, and the plus will attach the two strings and 33 is produced. Note that plus and multiplication operators are different. So 4 times string 3 will repeat the string 3 4 times. So the result would be something like this. So int function can do typecasting by turning a string or a float to an integer. But str function can turn an integer, float, or anything else to a string. We also have the float function that turns a string or integer to a float. So in summary, we learned that an equal sign with a new variable creates a new variable in RAM. Arithmetic operators like plus and plus equal to, and logical operators like greater than or greater than equal to, they can combine the variables to create new variables. We also learned that variables have data types such as int, float, str, and bool. But we can use the typecasting functions of int, float, and str to create a new value with a desired data type. So if you have any questions about this lecture, you can come to the Q&A sessions on Zoom, or you can go to Canvas, Module 1, and questions about Module 1. In that discussion forum, you can ask your questions. We are now done with the lectures. You already did a quiz, took a quiz on syllabus. So your next activity in the tutorial is to register on datacamp.com and do the first lecture there on basics and do the assignments there. It's highly recommended that you do the data types practice at home questions. Data type practice at home question is called PAH01. After that, I recommend you to read this textbook based on your understanding of this lecture. You can refer to a syllabus to figure out which one is better for you, but generally apprentice textbook is better. I'm going to put the link to this textbook in the comments. And after that, you need to take a quiz on lecture 1 24 hours before. The deadline for the quiz is 24 hours before the second lecture.